Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow, your host with the G&E TV. For the past few weeks, there is a big subject. Even though big subject, lots of people not paying attention to the subject. But me, at this show, a person who sticks so strongly to ethics, to concept, to patriotism, I would not let go for free. All right, and that's the Bergdahl issue. Bowie Bergdahl, and a U.S. serviceman who betrayed his duty, who betrayed his own vow, right? Who ran away from his post, right? So as the news came, news go. News is news. Today's news might be old today, tomorrow, right? After that, we still want to go into it to find out what's inside the story.
Yep.
What's behind the story. So with me today, in the discussion, is my big friend, my brother, my younger brother, by the different mother, I guess. No, different father.
Different father.
Put it that way, yeah, different father, okay. Our fathers are kind of naughty, more, right, like that. Now, he is Sergeant Phillip Cotton. Sergeant Phillip Cotton served his time in Afghanistan war.
Yes.
Gloriously, and came back with lots of honor. Yeah, and he is now engaged with the youth service work, youth service counseling service group. All right. So you may address him as still Sergeant Cotton. To me, he's always Sergeant Cotton. So, Sergeant Cotton, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate it.
Very good. Since last met, I've been thinking about you lots of time. Every time when it comes to education to young people, though, I think of you first. Because you set yourself a good example to them as a young man what to do to your country. And then coming back home, you never take a break, right? You went on educating them, right? So, now, with the Bowie Bergdahl situation or the case, what's your comment, please?
So if we look back on Sergeant
okay, first give me a little briefing to my audiences about what happened.
So first with Sergeant Bergdahl, what we saw was back in 2006, he initially tried to join the United States Coast Guard. Mm-hmm. He started going through the basic training, and midway through his training, they ended up kicking him out for mental health issues. Fast forward 3 years later, he joined the United States Army.
2009.
2009, he joined the United States Army and was deployed to the Pride province, which is RC East in Afghanistan. At that point in time, he made several references to incompetent leadership and a whole host of other issues that he had with the U.S. military and just the U.S. and just in general. So he came up with a story where he felt that the only way to get the message out to his superiors that his leadership was incompetent, if you will, that he would walk off post and try to walk to the nearest post in Afghanistan to let the upper echelons know. Now, that is the story as we know it right now. That's the story that he's given to the investigators. Yes.
It was nighttime.
Yes.
Right? All right. And his comrades were sleeping.
Yes. Some of his comrades were
because consumably, he was on duty.
He was on duty. He was providing guard.
He was on duty, providing safety to his comrades.
Yes.
Who are sleeping.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, the guy on guard is gone.
Yes.
Endangering everybody.
We actually have these things called the general orders. We have three general orders in the United States Army. And the number one general order is, I will guard everything within the limits of my post and not quit my post until properly relieved. So right then and there, by him walking off post, he put everybody on base in danger and violated something very, one of the basic tenets of being a soldier of the United States military.
Very good. And that is a very loud statement. And I like it. I like it. I've never been a military man myself, but I do have a military mind. Right? Military is a military. It's not like a guy on the street. you're talking about guys in the Walmart. No, you're not talking about that. You're talking about well-trained, highly vigilant, and self-regulated, right? Devoted to country, patriotic people. You're talking about.
Yes.
You're not talking about freelancing animals on the street. You're not talking about that, right? Okay. So as a soldier, gloriously retired, right? When you heard about that story, what was your first impression, please?
Well, there were several thoughts going through my head at that time. So the initial story, we never take the initial story at face value because we don't know all the facts. Mm-hmm. But as more and more facts came out, we started to realize that, he seems to be a deserter. And that really, pardon my language, but it really pissed me off and pissed off a lot of the people within the military community and the people that support the military. Because when you sign a contract with the United States military, you're basically saying that you're willing to go up to your life to protect the freedoms of the American people and complete the mission. It's very simple. You signed a contract, and that contract states that you will do whatever the commander-in-chief tells you to do.
Yeah, for which you get paid.
Yes.
For which you get honor.
Yes.
For which you get everything.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
All right, good, very good. So, and if you are asked by your people, young people that you consult with, so how do you explain to them?
Individual young people can have their own mindset. I'm not for everybody joining the military. So if somebody joins the military, that is completely fine. But the idea is when you make a commitment, that you stick through your commitment through the good times and the bad times. And once you got in, you determined that this was not for you, you still made a commitment. So you need to finish out those obligations. Too many people get into something that they consider to be too hard, so then they quit. Well, it's the United States military. You don't just get to quit because you no longer like what you signed up for.
In other words, if you're doing something else, for example, if I'm here, I can probably sometime use the word quit.
Yep.
Once you're in the military, once you're gun related, right?
Yes.
Right? Somebody behind you, you're protecting.
Yes.
You can't say quit.
No.
You can't say quit. The moment you say quitting, you put people behind you in danger. Am I right?
Yes, and we actually have these things called the Warrior Ethos.
What is it saying again?
It's called the Warrior Ethos. And those are some more basic tenets of being a United States soldier in the United States military. And the number one Warrior Ethos is, I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. So when you quit, you are putting your life in danger, and we are required to never leave a fallen comrade, which is why when Bo Bergdahl decided that he wanted to just quit his post and leave, we don't just go, hey, well, I don't know where he's at, so we're just going to leave him. We're required to go find that soldier. So he put additional soldiers at risk by him leaving his post, and which caused 2 soldiers to become gravely injured. One lost a hand, and the other one has severe brain damage because they were both shot, looking for Bo Bergdahl.
And they spent hours that very night looking around for him.
They spent weeks and weeks trying to find him.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And waste of efforts.
Yes. Waste of resources.
Yeah, waste of resources. And somebody got wounded.
Yes.
One lost a hand.
And one had severe brain damage from being shot in the head.
See the damage.
Yes.
All right. Okay, now my dear friends, my lovely audiences, Jack Chow, but by this many years, you know the quality of Jack Chow. I'm not a #1 guy, but I wish I would have the #1 quality, because sitting here, I always consider myself as a role model for people. I don't want people to copy me for anything I'm wrongdoing, all right?
Yes.
Even though I'm not a perfect guy, I may be wrongdoing somewhere else, but here on the job, I always want to portray something not for the sake of Jack Chow, for the sake of G&E TV. Am I right?
Yes.
Because I consider myself as a soldier, as a man that represents the organization, right? Now today we are taking a very, very, very vivid example, a bad one though, to teach our young people what to do when you are obligated to your contract, to your country, to your folks, right?
Yes.
To your comrades, who are exactly the same somebody's brother, somebody's son, somebody's husband, right? So you got a job to do.
Yep.
Right? So talking about the Bergdahl event, even though that guy was lucky enough not to go to jail, though he truly deserves some time. I believe he's a coward. He's not a role model, at least not a role model, not even close to Jack Chow. With me doing the analysis as my good friend, Sergeant Cotton, Phillip Cotton. Phillip Cotton served this country in Afghanistan.
Yes.
Gloriously and discharged gloriously, and now doing the community work. So we still want to use that as a vivid example to show our young people what to do. So let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we will continue fighting. All right, stay with us. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the discussion about patriotism. I think it's quite a patriotism thing. It's a Bergdahl situation. And the case, the guy was so lucky that the judge gave up on him by saying that, discharged without honor or something like that?
Yes, they call it, in the U.S. military, they call it a dishonorable discharge.
Dishonorable discharge.
Yes.
All right. Not honorably retired, dishonorably discharged. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And no jail time.
No jail time. No jail time, unfortunately.
Which is quite strange. All right. Okay. Now, my question: to put the case aside a little bit. Okay. Now, let's talk about wars. Right. I remember year 2005 or 6. When we were in the war with Afghanistan for 5 years already,
yes,
and the Iraq war for 2 years already, there were lots of issues talking about the justice of war. All right, and there was even one soldier. I went to several of the press conferences regarding that case. I believe that that time you were still in service. I believe the guy refused to take order. Refused to go to where he is dispatched, right? He and his father traveling around, making speeches to people, saying that I'm refusing to take obligation to get involved in the war, though, right? And of course, people had different take.
Yes.
Right, for a different take. So, what is your take as a soldier of the United States?
So,
was he doing the right thing not to go where he's dispatched?
Well, the obvious answer is no. So this is America. You are free to do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't negatively affect somebody else. The issue is once you join the United States military, you have given up that right as an American to freely do whatever you want.
All right, that's very important. Say it again. I want to say it again. You do have the right, right? And you do even have the right not to sign the contract.
Yes.
Right? But once you signed, you agree to give up what you have.
Yes.
Right? Say it again, please.
Yes.
I believe my young audiences would have to hear it again because it is so sounding word by word statement, right?
I mean, it's very simple. This is America. You're able to do whatever you want in this country as long as it doesn't negatively affect anybody else. But once you sign your name on the dotted line with the United States military or just the government in general, you've given up all of those essential freedoms, and you are now restricted to whatever the rules and regulations of that government service is. And in the U.S. Army, you are given very clear instructions on what your roles and responsibilities, what you can and cannot say in the United States military.
All right. Like the very soldier I'm talking about, he, of course, he signed that contract.
Yeah.
He signed his name.
And
right?
he swore. He put his right hand up and he
said
swore.
He kind of pledged or swore in.
Yep.
Swore in.
Yep, you swear in at your military interest processing station. You swear
right.
in, and you agree to the orders of officers and the president.
Now he refused. Back then, I'm talking about that very soldier, refused to go where he was dispatched. So totally, he's betraying himself, betraying the contract, right?
Yes.
Right. Do you think that itself, that action itself, that decision itself, deserves some jail time? I'm not saying that you're a judge, right?
Yeah.
That from a soldier point of view.
So from my perspective, like emotionally, I think jail time is appropriate in certain instances for that individual, depending on how long he was in and so on and so forth. I would say yes, jail time is appropriate to a certain extent. What I really want to see, if jail time isn't appropriate deemed by the judge, is simply a dishonorable discharge. I don't want that individual to get any benefits whatsoever from their limited service, from their service, their quote-unquote service to the nation.
Yeah, to encourage them to do that thing.
Yes,
right?
because I don't want anybody else to come in thinking like, well, if I just don't want to do something, I'm just not going to do it. When you don't follow orders, you can get people killed. People die from people not following orders in the U.S. military.
The problem is that our young people keep seeing bad examples.
Yes.
Right? Like this one, Bergdahl thing, doesn't even go to jail. What if he goes to jail? I will be happier than I am now, and I believe you will be happier than you are now.
Yes.
Because our kids, the kids you're teaching, see the example. See? So the guy goes to jail, right? All right. Am I right? Like that.
Yes.
Now they give you exactly something on the contrary. All right, I said the guy is okay. Now, right, it's okay. Exactly 180 degrees.
Yes.
Right. That is my problem. So now, second question. We all, under Constitution, we have the right to say what we want to say.
Yes.
Right? We have the freedom of expression. For the Afghanistan war, the war you went in, and the Iraq war, the war I wrote about a lot. I'm a writer myself, right? I wrote a lot of articles. I myself not necessarily support the wars, but I had to take to say, no, I don't agree.
Yes.
So you're saying soldiers do not have the freedom to do so?
They don't. So the United States military is very clear on what talking points and what things that you can and cannot say. Now, going into the military, I knew that off the bat. It's the same way that if you work for any employer in the U.S., the employer can put specific mandates on you that say that you can and cannot say specific things. If you badmouth your employer, don't expect to keep your job very long. So I'm not that surprised when a civilian...
In other words, if you do not like the job rules, you go.
Exactly.
Right?
But in the military, when you sign the contract, you pretty much know that there's things that you can and cannot say, which is totally fine. Now that I'm out of the military, I have a lot more freedom to be able to say what I want to say. And I can express my opinion, but I knew that going in, that during my time in service, I couldn't say specific things, but now I can. So, you know, it's what I want to get across to a lot of young people is, I want them to fight the system. I want them to fight and to question and to look at the people that are in charge and hold them accountable. But if you join the United States military, expect during your time in service, you will follow orders to the T because you signed a contract and you put your name, and just as a man in general, I made a commitment. And that commitment says that this is how I will act and this is how I will do.
Conditionlessly.
Yep.
Right?
Without any question or reservation, I will perform my duties in a military manner.
Question or reservation. I myself, in a sober condition, I'm not under drugs whatsoever, right?
Yep.
I'm not under the influence of any, and I will fight fight against enemies, domestic or foreign or whatsoever, like that.
Yes.
Right. Now you are totally giving yourself to the great cause.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
So, can we? Okay, next thing, can we, in that case, freely call that kind of guy traitor?
Oh, yes, without a shadow of a doubt.
A treason thing.
Yes. You know, so maybe I wouldn't go as far as to say treason because I don't believe that his actions were
But a traitor is.
Yes.
Right.
I would say that with the treason piece, he would have had to actively help and aid the enemy. But a deserter, at a bare minimum, he is a deserter. That at a bare minimum, he is a deserter.
Okay.
And so when we get to this conversation about should he have more jail time, should he have been locked up, I am for him being locked up, but I can understand the judge's decision by not locking him up. And the reason that is because he spent 5 years basically being tortured. So,
well,
It was his own reason. It was his own. It was because of him. You left the base. You got caught by the Taliban.
Yeah.
So you put yourself in that situation.
Sure.
But at the same time, although I personally would like for him to see at least 5 years in jail. But at the same time, I understand the judge's decision behind saying, look, he did 5 years locked inside of a small cage. Literally, they had him in a small cage, and they tortured him and beat him and starved him basically daily. So I can see why individuals and the judge would say that is punishment enough. But at the same time, the soldiers that went out to look for him, that one that lost his hand, the other one that had brain damage, that is a punishment for the rest of their life.
Good. That's a very good take. I have more questions to ask. Okay. So my dear audience, I like the statement so far so good. At this very point, I found that I really echo with this young man, respectively, my friend Sergeant Cotton, and he's got a very strong take about how to be a military man, how to be, another word, a man, right, with quality. So let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, I really have questions, solid questions to ask. All right, so stay with us. Hello, dear friends, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back to the discussion about your country, about your patriotism, about your devotion to the country that you will swear in.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, now. To those of us who are naturalized later, we sworn in this country.
Yes.
Right? To cases like my son, they had no choice. They were born in the country. Yet with the land, with the water, with the soil, everything, they kind of like belong to this land. The land is theirs. Now I swear in, I belong to the land belongs to me, like
Yes.
that. If they say, hey, Jack Chow, you're never too old, come here, we need one. All right, like you. Oh, probably they need a commander. They could, all right? Right, like say colonel or something, right?
Okay.
They will, right? Okay, I'll volunteer, I will go, right? Okay, anyway. So for that, I always consider unconditionally serve my country with United States.
Yes.
Okay, now, question. For offenses, for deserting,
Yes.
for violations, we understand as common sense, the military court and the civil court, they all have different standards.
Yes.
Normally, more often than not, the military court has more stricter rules than the civil courts.
Yes.
Right? So how come? I'm asking you. In this case, the military court gives the much softer conclusion or a verdict.
So I think the military did there's only so much facts that even we know. So what's been put out in public is only so much information. So I can't get into the head of the judge. I can't see all the body of evidence. I can only kind of do like a sideline commentary and say, this is how I perceive the situation to be. So the military uses the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And it is a thick book with just a ton of things that you can and cannot do.
Yes.
So the fact that you get a dishonorable discharge, it affects you negatively for the rest of your life. You can't buy firearms. There's a ton of things that happen to you when you get dishonorably discharged from the military. But like I said earlier, I can understand the judge's decision. I can understand why he came to that conclusion and why the judge decided to not move forward with further charges or not move forward with adding jail time to his sentence. Personally, I would want him to get jail time. But at the same time, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't seen all the evidence. So I can only make a decision based on what I currently know.
But you are doing this service,
yes.
right? You are teaching, you are educating young people.
Yes.
You want to educate young people, right? That bad deeds, the failure of your duty, betrayal of your duty will get punished.
Yes.
Severely.
Yes.
How do you teach them?
Well, at the same time, so
it's your obstacles.
Yeah, it is obstacles, especially with something like this that is so public that they can go online and they can easily see these stories and go, well, he just got kicked out of the military. So yes, he just got kicked out of the military, but luckily with social media and with the media in general having persons like myself on, we get to essentially kind of do our own judgment of him and put it out there for the world to see. So he is going to suffer essentially for the rest of his life because no matter where he goes, no matter what veteran he runs into, they're going to know him as the deserter known as Bo Bergdahl.
He will be spat on.
Yes, I mean there's
literally.
I'm
not not saying actually do it, right?
But
he will be spat on.
But it's the proverbial he will be spat on because at the end of the day, veterans, we call each other out when we do something wrong. And I use the term loosely with veteran for him.
The word veteran, the word military, you never know how heavy those words are.
Yes.
Remember those color service with those old guys, 90-something years old, when they cannot even stand straight. They were doing kind of salute like that when the word salute is said, right? And then, you see the eyes, how serious they are. All right, it's a glory. It's hardship. It's everything. It's a manhood there. So it can be dealt in a childish way. Okay, now, another example. If I locked my baby in the car in the summer day, I went into, say, Walmart, I get jail time for child endangerment.
Yes.
Right? A guy locked his comrades in the sleeping room. He was supposed to be on duty. Was he endangering his comrades?
Yes, I think he definitely was
for
in danger.
that in itself, when the military court dismissed him, would the civil court pick up? No,
because you can't actually be charged in the military court and the civilian court for the same crime. It's not considered double jeopardy because
I know you're not a lawyer. I'm neither.
Yes.
I'm saying that O.J. Simpson let go the criminal court and the civil court is guilty. All right?
Yes. The difference is one is on a battlefield. So there's no jurisdiction for normal civilian courts overseas in a combat zone. So it's the same way that if a soldier does a specific action that the public might deem inappropriate, but the military does deem appropriate, they can't be convicted in most cases in the civilian court in the U.S. because it does not fall within normal judicial terms of the U.S. U.S. laws. So that's why. So although he did endanger individuals by doing what he did, that would never unfortunately be able to translate into the civilian court system. It only is military, which is why they did the military court piece.
And that probably you can explain to your kid though.
Yes.
Because your kids might have my thought.
Yes.
Might think the same way I think.
Yes.
Right? They feel some kind of sophisticated. No, this is not fair.
Yes.
The guy deserves something like that kind of. You want to let them know nicely. Right? That's the system, how it works. However, by emotion, he, of course, needs to go. Right? You agree, I agree, right? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Now, you just now mentioned about the judge. Judge's consideration about the fact that he stayed already 5 years in prison of a Taliban prison, right?
Yes, in
prison. But probably that he chose to do so.
Yes,
right?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, he chose to go in himself. Am I right?
So he chose, the way it worked out with Bo Bergdahl, he left the base and from all accounts that we have is he was captured by the Taliban. So I don't know all the facts, so I don't know if he walked to the Taliban and was trying to find somebody and trying to join the Taliban. But the facts that are currently on the field don't show that, but just because they don't show that doesn't mean that's not a reality. But I can only go off the facts on hand. So the facts say that he was captured by the Taliban. So since he didn't willingly go to the Taliban. He was captured
because he walked away.
Oh, yes. He was captured because he walked away.
Right.
But at the same time, there's a certain level of intent that you have to look at too. So a disillusioned soldier leaves post to, in his words, go find another post to say that his command is being derelict in their duties.
It's midnight.
Yes.
Right? Early morning thing. Midnight, early morning thing. Where is he going?
Yes.
Of course. Well, if I were a judge, I smell more betrayal.
Yes.
Right? betraying the country, betraying everything like that. Okay. Now, talking about the fact, the judge consideration about he, well, anyway, paid enough of the 5 years confined in the box whatsoever, and hard condition, beaten on a day-to-day basis whatsoever. Okay, so that he has paid. Right now, I give you an example. Right, if I punch you in the nose, right, cause you bleeding, in the same moment I broke my bone. So what do you say? Jack has paid himself, has paid for it already, because he broke his bond. Come on.
So it's
irretrievable.
It's a lot of that same.
But doesn't mean the same.
For me,
by nature.
I mean, by nature, you doing harm to yourself while doing harm to other people does not exempt you from punishment.
Yeah, you're right. And it is not considered as my payment to what I have done, right?
Yeah, it is not your repayment and your repaying your debt to society or your debt to the United States military and the soldiers. Mm-hmm. So what I would love to see is actually the full release of documents, so I can actually do a full review of them and go, okay, well, this is all the facts that this judge had to make that determination on those. But in all reality, that Bo Bergdahl should never have been in the military to begin with,
unless he got some merits.
I mean, at the end of the day, if he got kicked out of the Coast Guard for mental health issues, why would the U.S. Army then pick him up?
Yeah, all right, yeah.
I mean,
they're only 3 years apart, right?
Yeah, they're only 3 years apart.
2006 and 2009, right? So, and in the first place, the military picked up the wrong guy, or that was a fake story back then, right? Then, by the fact he decided to do such a smart thing, it's not a dumb guy. It's not a dumb guy. One thing for sure, I do strongly insist that I break my own bone by attacking you is not my payment to my crime.
Not in the least bit. Not in the least bit. Which is why, for me personally, I would like to see him locked up for a period.
Because you got a teaching job to do.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
There are consequences for your actions.
You're not only convincing you or myself.
Yes.
I feel a little better because I all have myself to convince. Of course, I have audiences. I have convinced my audiences,
yes.
Right? You have a bunch of kids that you are training.
Yes.
To tell them to act like a soldier. So, right?
You know, our whole goal is to make sure that each one of the youth that we work with, they have honor, integrity at least.
Yes.
But then they also have better ways to kind of work through some of the issues that they're having through counseling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So when he walks off base and he says, well, I had no other recourse, we have things put into place to assist soldiers that feel that there is something going wrong. There's a chaplain that's there who is outside of the scope of any command, where you can say, I'm having these issues, or that I believe these issues are happening, and that chaplain will take those issues higher up.
Yeah.
So when he says that, well, I left because I had to and I had to go find people, for me, it's a blatant lie.
It is a lie.
It is a lie.
It's a lie. And on the other hand, his comrades may not look for him, right? What if they do not even look for them? Right?
Unfortunately for us, we
everybody shares say we never leave a fallen comrade.
So we are, whether you like the guy or you hate the guy, we don't leave anybody behind.
No.
And because of that, because of our mantra and because of the way that we do things in our ethos, we have at least 2 soldiers who suffered severe injuries that are life-changing for the rest of their life.
Yeah, you're
because
right.
No matter what, we are going to do what it takes to assist a soldier, to help a soldier out. And with him, although soldiers had a notion that he might run away, or a notion that he might be becoming disillusioned, the facts at that time weren't facts. So when he disappeared, we still had to go, where is he? We need to find him, because he's still a soldier at that time.
Exactly. Also, there is one thing I wanted to go by definition. If the whole military, like a nation, or the whole nation is like a machine.
Yes.
Right? You a soldier, me a soldier, is just one screw of the machine.
Yes.
Right? You don't have a choice to say, no, don't put me in this hole. I prefer the other hole. All right? You don't want to go yourself, pull out yourself and just go. You just stay there because you belong to the machine.
Yes,
Am I right?
And as I tell a lot of the kids that I work with, they ask me about my military service, and I try to explain to them when they go like, "Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that?" A lot of times I tell them, "I have no idea why I did it. I was just told to do it."
No, yeah.
Like
I was told to do. Yes, yes.
I look down at I tell them I look down at my chest and I go, "Hey, well, you know what? I'm just a specialist. Hey, I'm just a private. Hey, I'm just a sergeant. So somebody above me told me this is what I have to do, and I'm just going to make sure I understand what the intended outcome of this mission is supposed to be, and then I go do it. It's not my responsibility or my job to go ahead and get all the information because there's somebody above me that has all those facts.
I love it.
And my job is just that one piece.
The whole mechanism.
Yes.
That works, right?
Yep.
Okay. My dear friends, with my friend Sergeant Cotton, I'm really having a good time. I'm feeling I'm younger again, getting younger again, almost ready to go, right? So we're talking about the Bergdahl coward case. And it's a deserter case, and I believe our young people, would have a hard time understanding it. That's why we're doing the show. Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we want to put everything together, and by talking about what his recent activities, we see how we can better educate our young people, even confronting the bad examples. All right, so stay with us, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show. As a matter of fact, today I would say our subject for discussion is a patriotism. Patriotism in the form of being a soldier, in the form of picking up your post, right? In the form of doing your job, in the form of doing your job at any cost, even sometime it means your life.
Yes.
Right? Okay, now, with my friend Sergeant Cotton, I'm having a very good time. I'm having a thorough understanding about what the word military means, what the word glory means, right? What the word patriotism means, right? It means everything, you, head to toe, once provided you sign a contract.
Yes.
You may have a freedom not to so, not to do so, right?
Yes.
Now, tell me something about your service, your youth service, because versus your service, you have a tougher job to do, and the kids, how you want to train them, how you want to educate them, even with a bad example, please.
So, for anybody out there that has kids that are kind of, they're looking at the situation and you're kind of nervous to show them because you think that they're going to look at this and kind of get a bad example. The best thing to do is to, when you look up videos about Bo Bergdahl, you're going to see a lot of veterans giving their commentary on there. And almost every veteran out there is going to give you the same commentary. This guy did wrong. This guy did not do the right thing, and he put people's lives in danger. So I think it's as simple as that when it comes to educating a lot of our youth.
That's a good reminder.
You can show every single veteran out there that comments on this situation is giving the exact same thing. You might have some civilians that are sympathetic to his feelings about the war in Afghanistan, and that is completely your right as an American to be against the war in Iraq, be against the war in Afghanistan. But at the same time, as a veteran, we look at this and go, I am responsible for my own actions. So I signed a contract and I said I am going to perform my duty in the most professional manner possible. Because if I don't do that, then I can put somebody else's life at risk.
Yeah, I say it, I mean it, I do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then with these, I'm not putting anybody's life in danger.
Yes.
I'm not leaving any fallen comrade behind,
yes,
and nobody will leave me behind. It's kind of like a unique block
yes,
of the whole thing.
There is a strong brotherhood in the United States military.
Very
and
good.
When somebody steps out of that brotherhood and puts everybody else's life in danger, we call each other out on those things. and very openly. Very openly call each other out. We are one of the very few unique government programs that things run by the United States government that will actually openly tell the civilian population that our brother in arms, our sister in arms, messed up and they did the wrong thing, and be very open and very blatant about that person doing the wrong thing.
Something between you and me, all right? Do you teach them?
What was that?
Do you teach the bad guys and the nerdy guys?
Well, we try to do whatever we can to try to ensure that we get them up to the standard.
And sometimes,
No.
a little punch might help.
No, we don't do any physical violence against any of our fellow soldiers. But what we do is if we have a bad soldier, we try to get them out of the military. We have policies and procedures just like when you
write him out.
Yeah, I mean if you look at Bo Bergdahl, he was kicked out of the military administratively. So yes, so they went through and they did what they call an Article 15 hearing on him, and they made a decision that this individual should not be in the military anymore. So what did they do? They got rid of him, and they kicked him out. Now there were a lot of things that went into that, but you have soldiers that, like, Bo Bergdahl is not unique on being kicked out of the military and being dishonorably discharged.
Okay.
So we have kicked out tens of thousands of soldiers, in the past 10, 15 years. So we have a process to get bad soldiers out of the military. So we have no problem calling each other out and then saying, you are wrong, you are doing the wrong thing, and we don't want you to be a part of us anymore. We don't want you to be mistaken for a good soldier.
Okay.
So in that case, then we essentially strip them of their uniform and say, get out.
I understand, no problem. I do understand. I told you just now, I understand, right? My problem is exactly your problem, and your problem is that you want to tell the kids what you just told me, right? Okay, now here's a bad example.
Yes.
So, and then it is really, really an eyesore that comes at the right moment to you.
Yes.
For example, in your classroom, when you say, "Hey, how about Bergdahl?" So you have no answer. That's the problem. Well, that is the problem.
Well, for us, we have to look at it and go about accountability and holding each other accountable. So with him, I can't change what he did. You're always going to have bad apples in the bunch. You're going to have individuals that do the wrong thing.
The damage is there. Anyway.
Yeah, the damage is there, and you can see. All we can show them is everything that is happening around him now and how everybody now perceives this individual. So all of us look at him and go, this is a horrible, horrible individual.
Or could I say his biggest payment is that uniform that during the rest of his life, he will never stand up tall like a man.
Never again. He's always going to be called out for all for the
bad high, like you and I. We're men enough. We did this, like that kind. He will never be able to do that.
Never. No matter where he goes, everybody knows his name and knows what his name is synonymous with. Desertion.
All right.
Not serving with honor and being dishonorably discharged from the United States military.
When he started looking for a job, the boss might say, "Oh yeah,
bye.
Right.
We can't hire you. I'm sorry."
Oh, we can't. Right, like that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
All right. That could be. You may tell your kids he is paying his biggest payment.
Yep, for the rest of his life.
Now, my problem is that as a society, we want to see harmony. Harmony. By harmony, when I say when I sing a D, you better give me an F or something. So when I sing a D, you give me a C. No, we don't go.
Yeah.
We don't go together, right?
Yes.
Now, when we try to teach our young people, all of a sudden the military court gives him no jail time, so it sounds like a C to D.
Yes.
So that's the thing. That's the problem. Now, okay, how many kids do you have?
Well, we service students all throughout California. So right now we service roughly 200 students throughout all of California.
200?
Yes, all of us throughout all of California right now.
All of California. So what do you do when you say service? So when we say all of California,
yes,
territorially you're talking about a large area, right?
Yes.
What do you do then?
So what we do is we staff schools with mental health professionals. Unfortunately, a lot of school districts do not have the funding to hire a full-time individual to perform counseling for their students. So we come in and we contract with each individual school, and we provide those services for them. So it saves them a lot of money and time in the long run, and we specialize in mental health services. So we have individuals that can go on site within a school district or a charter school and be able to perform those services for them.
For example, if one school calls you, say, hey, Sergeant Cotton, we have a bunch of kids want to hear some comment of you talking about Bergdahl.
Yes.
Right? And they're confused about doing right, doing wrong. You're the one to go.
Yeah, so typically we perform mainly the counseling services, but then we also do, but then we also do public speaking engagements depending on the environment and so on and so forth as well. So a school could essentially ask for those services if they wanted to.
Somewhere in San Francisco, somebody call and you have somebody there nearby who could be dispatched over there doing the same thing.
Yes.
Very good, very good. So how many years has the program or the system been running?
I got out of the military, and as soon as I got out, so it's been about 2 years now, I went ahead and moved into this field, and we have three other partners as well too, and two out of the other three actually are veterans as well too. So our goal is to service as many of the youth as possible because they're the most underserved people in our community. Is our youth.
How about support? Any community or government or whatever support?
We have with the schools that we work with, the parents in that community really love the services that we do because they see much better outcomes with our students, better grades, better attendance, less defiant behavior within the classroom, and better interactions between family members as well too. So our biggest support is with the individual schools and the parents within those schools as well too in the communities.
Do you provide physical training such as the disciplines or drills or whatever?
Our piece is primarily training the staff members on how to have appropriate interactions with their students, and how to, sometimes if a student's having a bad day, how to get them to get back on track and maybe keep them in a feeling and an environment where they're going to be successful.
Okay. Is it recognized on the state level? Because I find that what you do makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So
I'm talking about the broader sense of recognition. Sometimes with the funding is necessary.
The funding is always a challenge. So we go with individual schools and school districts, which we find that when we do it that way, surprisingly enough, is it frees up, it makes it a little bit less government. So there's a little bit less red tape. So when we're able to work directly with that client, with that school, then each individual school is different.
Understood. Yeah.
So if we go off of federal funding, we have to do a program that is very cookie cutter, and our goal is to not do that. We want to make it so if your school has these issues, we can service those individual issues in that school, which the other school might have something completely different.
Like a custom made.
Very custom. Very custom.
Custom made service.
Yes.
Right? Okay. May I say something personal?
Yes.
You married?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Got a target yet?
Not yet. I'm working with the kids. I got so many kids I got to worry about.
Oh yeah, all right. Okay, good. Hey, you ladies and gentlemen, you ladies over there, somebody might have a chance. I like this guy already. All right, good. I'm kidding. All right, but you got your own choice. All right, my dear friend, my lovely audience, my dear fellow Americans. This show, I like this discussion a lot because not only it is about patriotism, it is about ethics. Right, there's a lot of life's education to talk about, and I feel kind of justice not served, and I believe that there should be a better example rather than bad ones. However, looking at the facts as instructed by Sergeant Cotton, that this guy has a longer or bigger payment to do, talking about his own rest of his life, though.
Yes.
That probably should be something positive to the kid, right? So, my dear friends, and we thank you for watching. And to my friend Sergeant Cotton, we thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jack.
On behalf of our country, as a citizen, and we thank you for your engagement with the kids, and we thank you for sharing with the information with my audiences.
Thank you, Jack.
Seriously.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks.